with a long pass deep into the end zone. They could have never seen it coming. And I'm for it. Understand, again, we have 200 examples of interstate commerce, interstate compact agreements, everything from law enforcement and criminal justice, transportation, and the environment. All I'm saying is, and I don't want to rain on this parade because I love the idea and I think we ought to pursue it, all right? But we better make sure that we cross the T's and dot the I's on this, all right? Because I don't think that of all those 200 agreements, there's ever been a case exactly where the purpose of the compact was basically to circumvent a federal law. Now, I think we ought to try it. I think we ought to go as far as we can with this. But I also want to say something else to you. It has to do with the individual mandate, it has to do with other things as well. Please do not be seduced by the magic bullet. All right? We're up against a huge opponent. And this beast is going to require, to kill this beast is going to require a lot of weapons. Let me just give you a few examples what I think you can do. First of all, please, this is critical. Regardless of what happens in Washington, do not, under any circumstances, wait to pursue health care reform in the states the way you want to reform it. The individual mandate and the mandate on the states to set up the exchanges are supposed to come in 2014. There's a lot that can happen between now and 2014. Good Lord. Good Lord. Don't wait for Kathleen Sebelius to tell you what to do. Right? If you're a state official, you have no business waiting for Kathleen Sebelius to do what she wants to tell you to do. Seize every inch of territory in the healthcare policy realm within the law and challenge every transgression of your legitimate authority if and when federal officials violate it. That's number one. Number two, if you wish to pursue an exchange, just do it. Do it the way you want to do it. That's what Utah did. Fine. An exchange can mean many different things to many different people. I know a lot about these things. They can be a highly regulatory mechanism, or they can actually facilitate a consumer-based system of free choice and competition. It's how they are designed. Remember, the thing to remember is what is the goal of the thing, right? And what are its functions? It's the big difference between a horse and a zebra. They're not the same animals, okay? They look alike, but they're not the same animals. They function differently. So again, don't waste any time. The former Congressman Tom Feeney, my colleague, said the states should pursue interstate compacts in any event to expand health insurance markets and broaden health insurance competition. As we said, there are 200 state compacts around the country. Under Article 1, Section 10, states can do it. There's no reason why you should do it, shouldn't do it. I think the important thing to do is just go out and do it. Your job, it seems to me, is to preserve as much state control and flexibility as possible. You have a duty to your citizens to do that. I want to talk about one other thing. It's a political stunt, but you know, why not? Alexander Hamilton has this wonderful passage in the Federalist where he talks about state officials looking, spotting usurpations was the phrase. I love these 18th century phrases, they're wonderful. Usurpations from afar. And he says that state officials can coordinate with each other, and because they are state legislators, they have all the organs, he uses the phrase, all the organs of the civil power at their disposal. Plus, he says, the confidence of their people in resisting. Hamilton's very clear. He anticipated. I mean, the Founding Fathers actually anticipated the fight that we're in. And they did. So take advantage of what they said to us about what to do. Well, here's one idea. One way you can pursue your own course of action is to hold very high-profile public hearings on the impact of the health care law on the citizens of your state, the doctors, the hospitals, the employers, the employees, the insurance companies, you name it, and invite Kathleen Sebelius to appear. Tell her to come on down. Folks in Texas want to talk to you about your regulation on, I don't care what it is, medical loss ratio. Let's try that. That's an exciting afternoon, isn't it? So, get them to explain themselves in broad daylight. If they want to impose detailed and minute regulations on state and local businesses, doctors and hospitals, they should have no objection to testifying in open forums, defending their position in broad daylight, while listening very patiently to the views of those whose lives and livelihoods they are going to directly affect. Those who make the rules should be accountable for the rules they make. Why not? They're right now issuing all kinds of waivers from federal regulations on a variety of things. We're going to see a lot more. The effect of this is that Americans in similar situations are being treated very differently. That is the definition of arbitrary government. An arbitrary and distant and unaccountable government is the very evil that George Washington and his colleagues, all 10,000 of them, took up arms to destroy in 1776. It's back. We have a job. State officials too quickly assume that they need cooperation from federal officials, but in truth, federal officials may desperately need cooperation from state officials even more. A strong antidote to the arrogance of centralized decision-making is full transparency. Make them appear, make them testify. The capacity of state legislators to ask questions and demand answers and to encourage public debate on this is enormous. The old days of federal officials just dumping literally hundreds of pages of rules into the Federal Register late on a Friday afternoon to avoid media coverage, those days are over. State governors and legislators should also vigorously challenge federal commandeering of state officials to carry out federal rules. As you know, the Supreme Court has struck down congressional attempts at commandeering in the past. That challenge should be renewed. Beyond that, if a state legislator, again, sincerely believes that the law is unconstitutional, he's under no obligation to vote one red cent of taxpayers' money to enforce it. If you take your oath seriously, that's what you must do. The bad behavior of Congress during the health care debate, the Cornhusker kickback, the Gatorade provisions. What was the other one? Oh, the Louisiana Purchase. I thought that was a sweet one. That's refocused the attention of millions of Americans on the way business is done in Washington. And I noticed that some of the defense of all of this, it was in a strange way. It was pleasantly naive. I mean, where Washington insiders were saying, well, come on, you're complaining about this. Wait, they do that all the time. Well, do they really? So, the point is that they do that all the time. Well, okay, here's another idea, possibly a model legislative resolution, right, for ALEC. You guys do great model legislation. Here's one. Why not have your state legislature pass a resolution that makes it part of the regular order that United States senators who under the Constitution, notwithstanding the direct election under the 17th Amendment, that United States senators representing the state's civic entities are invited to appear at state legislative hearings, maybe at the beginning of the term, to account publicly for their decisions in Washington that directly affect the people of the state that they claim and in fact are constitutionally required to represent under Article 1. Now, they don't have to come. I mean, many of them will say, my God, this has never happened before. There's nothing to prevent you from doing it. You represent something called the sovereign people of the states united. Call them on down. And if they don't show up, you got an empty chair and you got a press conference. If you need some help, I'll be there. I'd love to talk to